I have mentioned before that we taped the show in advance, and we taped yesterday's show last week. Whew.
Ellen Degeneres was once considered the queen of daytime talk show television. But since an explosion of insider reports detailing a toxic work environment on her show, Ellen has been scrambling to piece everything back together. That's why we're breaking down 3 reasons why Ellen won't be coming back from this scandal. Number 3, BuzzFeed report.
Like, that's a great idea to fit in with the Bieber week. It should be Justin Bieber, so congratulations. Thank you.
Many feel that Ellen won't be coming back from this latest scandal. The accusations about the show and her attitude towards crew members and guests has reached an unprecedented point. Last month, BuzzFeed News published a pair of stories that detail the allegedly toxic environment on set at Ellen, along with allegations of sexual misconduct by 3 of the show's producers. Meanwhile, celebrities, guests, and former employees have accused Degeneres of essentially being mean, an allegation that, while far from criminal, runs counter to the brand that defined her career. Warner Media has since launched an investigation into the workplace at the Ellen DeGeneres show, and at least one producer is expected to resign. Aside from a lackluster apology in which DeGeneres refused to take full responsibility for what happened behind the scenes on her show, she's remained silent. But that likely won't last long. According to public relations experts, she's almost certainly plotting her comeback, and the odds are high that she's hired a crisis PR specialist to help her make it. Number 2, handling the pandemic.
I was a cup and sold out. People weren't thinking clearly before the caffeine, and they're like, how much did I pay for that?
Crew members from Ellen DeGeneres' long-running daytime talk show were distressed and outraged over their treatment from top producers amid the coronavirus pandemic. The core stage crew for the Ellen DeGeneres show, consisting of more than 30 employees, received no written communication about the status of their working hours, pay, or inquiries about their mental and physical health from producers for over a month, said 2 sources, both of whom spoke on the condition of anonymity. Higher-ups in production would occasionally answer phone calls but reveal little, added one of the sources. The crew was further incensed by the show's recent hire of an outside, non-union tech company to help DeGeneres tape remotely from her home in California. When production exclusives finally did weigh in, nearly all crew members were told last week to brace for a 60% reduction in pay, even as the show continues to air, according to sources close to the matter. Only 4 core crew members currently work on the remote version of the broadcast, added insiders, who find this treatment to be totally inconsistent with DeGeneres' daily message to her audiences: be kind. For more than 2 weeks, from late March through April 9th, crew members, from lighting to camera operators to grips, were left in the dark about if and how much they would be paid. Phone calls to crew members from a production coordinator at Telepictures, the Warner Brothers unit that produces Ellen, were sporadic and often lacking any information before and after the 14-day blackout. The lack of transparency continued as DeGeneres expanded her output from hosting 4 shows a week to 5, shot over 2 days, said individuals with knowledge of the schedule. Radio silence from producers created anxiety among crew members who feared they would be furloughed and, in that case, would need to explore unemployment benefits. On April 2nd, the majority of the crew members were shocked to discover that DeGeneres had a remote set erected at her residence where she was taping, a fact they learned via social media posts from colleagues in other departments, insiders said. Under normal circumstances, Ellen tapes 4 days a week. Studio episodes of the show were shot the week of March 9th. The crew was last paid in full for the week of March 16th, when the Warner Brothers lot was shut down as a precaution to prevent the spread of coronavirus, according to the studio. As of April 10th, crew was told to expect a reduced compensation of 2 8-hour workdays per week. On her April 7th return to the air, DeGeneres told the viewers she wanted to start doing my new show as soon as possible. The host specifically said it was for my staff and crew. I love them. I miss them. The best thing I can do to support them is to keep the show on the air. More upsetting for many crew members is a lack of a personal outreach from show leadership to check on long-time employees amid the public health crisis, said sources. Confounded, the Ellen crew sought information from colleagues on similar shows, many of whom had opposite experiences from theirs, said sources. Jimmy Kimmel Live stagehands were paid from host Kimmel's own pocket during initial COVID-19 shutdowns. 2 insiders familiar with that set said that since returning to the air, network ABC is paying their full rates. Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, Full Frontal with Samantha Bee, and Showtime's Desus and Mero have also all had transparent communication and are paying full rates, sources said. Spokespersons for those individual shows declined to comment on the matter. Number 1, PR experts.
You're not getting a phone, so don't oh, she's talking about phones, we're gonna get a phone. You're not getting a phone.
There's a playbook for situations like this, and a handful of PR professionals who know every move it contains. Herald PR president Judah Engelmeyer, who's done crisis work for Paula Deen, Luann de Lesseps, and Harvey Weinstein, and Infinite Global founder Jamie Diaferia, whose firm specializes in crisis PR for corporations and high-profile individuals, talked about how DeGeneres might be using it in recent interviews. Right now, they said she's focused on damage control. Celebrities like Katy Perry, Diane Keaton, and Alec Baldwin have all issued statements in support of DeGeneres. There's a good chance those were orchestrated, Engelmeyer and Diaferia said. When clients of theirs are in hot water, asking friends and colleagues for public support is the first move they advise them to make. Diaferia said, "I'm guessing that somebody is using their Rolodex to get in touch with as many people as they can. People they know who have had good experiences with her. People who have been supportive in the past. In this case, you see that it all started on one particular day, so I'm guessing it was a fairly coordinated effort." Simultaneously, Engelmeyer said, "Whoever's handling this mess has probably asked DeGeneres to compile a list of everyone who's had an unpleasant experience with her and what they might allege. From there, her advisor will craft responses tailored to each incident and possibly encourage her to call those she's slighted in an effort to keep it contained privately," Engelmeyer said. If she's working with a qualified crisis communications firm, she is probably sitting down with an Excel spreadsheet and she's doing bullet points on this person, that person, and the other person, Engelmeyer said. Engelmeyer and Diaferia said that DeGeneres will likely let celebrity support roll in for a few weeks before she makes her next move, the inevitable apology. If she decides to continue on with her show, they said, she'll probably stage it there and could devote an entire episode to it. They envisioned DeGeneres sitting down with experts on maintaining a healthy workplace or possibly speaking to former employees on air. "You have to start by addressing the elephant in the room," Diaferia said. "At a minimum, she needs to talk about what happened, why what was going on was not okay, and how it's going to be different." As production on her show picks back up, Diaferia and Engelmeyer said they'd encourage DeGeneres to meet one-on-one with her employees, apologize to them, and promise them that the environment on set would improve, knowing that the word of what she did would get leaked to the press. "You script it as if those words will reach the public," Diaferia said. "If it's behind-the-scenes work, you can't just do that in a vacuum. You have to let the world know in some way that this is going on, that she's contrite." Once a few months have gone by and DeGeneres' reputation is on the mend, Diaferia said she'll probably embark on a rehabilitation tour, doing a handful of interviews on programs like The Today Show. She can go in with prepared remarks about how much she learned from the crisis, how she failed to live up to her own ethos of always being kind, and how, going forward, she's committed to doing better. You can pick up an interviewer who's a little more friendly, but also credible, that will give you some tough questions, but not too tough, Diaferia said. Then you carefully script out the messaging, not so that it appears to be disingenuous, but so that you at least have a sense of what you're going to say, and it's very carefully controlled. With that, along with upwards of $100,000 she'll have spent on a crisis PR specialist, Diaferia said DeGeneres' comeback will be complete. Barring any damning revelations from Warner Media's investigation, she'll return to her show, keep raking in a reported $50 million a year salary doing it, and get back into the good graces of her fans. "Give it a few months," Engelmeyer said. "Americans, and particularly celebrity watchers, have a short attention span for scandal if they like you. As long as you're doing better and keeping me happy and keeping me entertained, I'll forgive you." Maybe this will be a formative chapter for DeGeneres, an introspective period of personal growth. But more likely, her recovery will be calculated, a series of moves countless celebrities have made before her and countless more will make in the future. One question isn't whether she'll overcome the crisis, that we already know. The question is, when she does, is anybody gonna call her out? That being said, many fans aren't so sure they're ready to take Ellen back. Only time will tell what happens for the daytime talk show star. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any updates. This has been 3 reasons why Ellen won't come back from this scandal.